Hello, everybody. Welcome to our cycle meeting. Today is April 20th, 2026. Very happy to be here with you guys in this Lab 7 cycle meeting. In this opportunity, David couldn't be here with us, but he's always with us in spirit. We know that. And yeah, so we began our meeting talking about the situation of that in our case, in the case of members of the species or consciousnesses that have this extra resonance or this extra reach at different scales or this appetite of development in different scales, appetite of development of consciousness in different scales, right? That's an appetite because we're gonna encounter other types of configurations, other types of consciousnesses that only have an appetite for experience, right? So in our case, what this solar consciousness formation is going to provide for us is that it's going to provide us with certain resources so that we are able to capitalize the experiences, right? So, of course, it doesn't mean that we are having a physical material experience here in the third dimension, but we are argumenting this entire material identity. We are working with this formation in relation to the solar consciousness, right? So, in our case, with all of these resources, what these resources are going to help us do is create these arguments and expand the consciousness of those experiences. So it's not going to be the same to have a configuration that is like more attracted to to just having experiences, right? I'm having an experience and then I'm already planning the next experience. When, on the other hand, there's another way of interacting with reality where there is like more appetite of consciousness of the experience. In that part, I'm not gonna have like that much of an appetite of having experience after experience after experience. No, it's gonna be like, okay, yes, I have a little bit of an experience. And then I don't know if you guys like tell me how you feel about that, but like in my case, I have an experience and then I have to be in bed for a long time to deal with, to like process everything that I have just experienced. Even if I go around the block, even if I go like really close to my house outside, I don't know, 1 hour, 2 hours away from my house, when I go, take a small road trip or something, I come back and I'm like, oh Jesus, I have to
Yeah,
process everything that I saw. How about you guys? Tell me, how do you feel about that part?
I
Yes, yes.
resonate.
When you asked, the same. Yes, not maybe not just 2 hours from the house, but yeah, I need to when I can because I don't always get the chance. I need to stop,
Mhm.
pause, and even if it's 5 minutes and I need to continue, that helps. And if I cannot do it for a long period of time, then I need 2 days. For example,
Yeah.
when Keenan lives with
Yeah.
his dad, I have to shut everything for 2 days. You can barely talk to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's super healthy in our case.
Yes, yes, yeah. People tell me, no, don't stay alone. No, no.
I know what I'm doing, don't worry.
Yeah,
I'm going till
now
the
I know what I'm
antimatter.
doing. Now I know. Yeah, yeah. Now
Yeah.
I know why. Yes.
Mhm.
And is this from 2026, Laura, or always?
No, 2025. Not always. No, I don't know how many years. For sure. Well, I've always been a bit like that, but yeah, I would say 2017 is when this intensifies. And last year, 2025, I'm doing it more consciously, much more on purpose, and much more also with small breaks when I don't have a chance. It's better regulated, I would say, from last year.
Mhm. Yeah. So that has to do with, of course, that extra sensitivity in being in a reality like this. Sometimes when I am in existence, I'm like, I think I'm in the past. I think this is the past. I think I was sent into the past because it is like really hard to tolerate for me some of the things that I see. Um, and earlier, I didn't have like the membranes, or I don't know, maybe we could call it maturity in a way to accept reality as it is. And I was very hurt by everything that I would see. And now that you're asking if it's like in these recent times, Marjolaine, yes, for me, last year was like you are experiencing 2026. For me, that was last year where it all began. Um, but also, I would like to see if you are going through your ethereal bands, maybe. It might be like I would like to check. Do you guys remember the cycles of 5777 days? Do you remember that? Bandas etarias?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, because
Okay.
for me, when I shifted into my third banda etaria in May of 2023. Yeah. Okay, so from that, from 2023, 2024, but 2025, it was just, I don't know what happened there, but it was a complete breakage of my structure. Um, but in my case, I was able to catch the metrics and notice what was going on in my particular structure, right? In other cases, it might be like going through specific days of life, um, or certain convergences with certain metrics. You know, it might be many different things, like the reasons why we are encountering specific experiences or like demands from the context, right? Because in our case, if we are having this resonance, we probably are having, of course, an appetite for evolution in a different scale. Not, it is like not enough this personal evolution or just like evolution in the member of the species or the social area. Of course, it's important. I'm not saying it's not important, but in this context, it means that there is an appetite of development, of course, at a different scale. So in that case, um, the everything that comes our way inside this materialization is hopefully going to be taken by us as a resource, like as a sport, because we're going to be aware of the fact that interference is just a sport because we have the resources to deal with that, right? The interference, what is interference going to do? Is going to be telling us, it's going to be like touching our buttons to see, to tell us what we are missing. Yeah, what we have to construct, where we need to construct a membrane, because a membrane is not the same as a wall, and it is not the same as having nothing. Because if I have nothing, then everything is going to come right through me, and I'm going to have impact after impact after impact, and I'm not going to have like the time or anticipation um to even decide whether or not I want to accept something that's coming my way. Yeah. That's why like the part of the antenna is so important. Yeah.
How did we work out the bandas etarias? I know it's 5775, but how did we work out what band we were on? What was the mechanism?
Your days of life.
Days of
So what,
life.
yeah,
Yeah.
so what we're gonna do is we're gonna add 577 times 2 times 3 times 4, and then we're gonna find, or another thing that we can do, we can divide our actual days of life divided by 5777. We can do that right now. Let's take the time to do it. I'm gonna check
You
mine
can
too.
find it in the Oyos app, also. I
Yeah,
was
in the app
18 January, I was in my first day of the fourth Desafia.
in January
Yeah, the 18th.
this year, you
Yes,
enter your fourth.
the fourth, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So how many, what's your days of life right now?
That is 23200
23200. Okay.
today.
23200. So let's take that one for example. and see where she is right now. 3200.
It's just me.
92 days from in the fourth.
92 days. Okay, so she's in the fourth. And how was that for you? Like, what did you experience a specific thing? I
I
don't know, a
am.
specific impact in that shift or something?
I know only this year it's like I'm walking on an edge, and I need to
Uh-huh.
walk straight in the line and not absorb so much. My body is okay, yeah. I don't have that much that I'm tired. I had it, I think 5, 6 years ago when there was an event. I didn't know when I felt it was going down. But, but I'm more not anatomic, I'm more digital. I need to learn more to be in my body. And this feels more grounded somehow, but I need to consume less drop by drop. It's like it's withholding, like not a sponge, but like drop, drop, drop. Otherwise, it got confused. I know it
Okay.
now. I let it go.
That's interesting because this happens every 14, 15 years. You know, it is not something that happens too often, right?
Yeah,
So
true. Yeah,
for
yeah,
like what
yeah.
Alejandra explains in the Vandataria is a, sh a shift in the, as if we have a record and there's a shift in the track. Yeah. Like the first 5777 days of our life is like a track in our lives. It's going to be like
Yeah,
the base.
yeah,
And then after that, we change the track and then we change the track. And of course, each bandetaria is going to be containing the prior one. So let's see. I'm going to. Probably the rest of you guys are on the third bandetaria because it lasts 15
two
years.
not.
I've got 4775 on mine, so it's
Okay.
right.
I
And you
am.
said, Denise,
I'm
you're
in
on
the
you
second.
cannot be on the
No.
third. I'm on the
Sorry?
second too. You cannot be on the third. Did you say the third for you? You changed?
No.
No, Denise,
Yes,
You
you're
can be
30.
now.
the
But you're
third.
much younger than us.
But yeah, we are both on the third probably.
No. In the second. I'm also in the second, right?
No, you're
No.
not
Yeah,
in the second.
No.
I'm finishing the second. How old are you, Nyanke?
What's your days of
40,
life, Laura?
44.
Yeah, I'm 42, almost 43, so we're almost the same.
Yeah.
I'm
No, it's the third.
15,557. 15557.
Your days
Yeah, so
of life?
that is you are on the
Yes.
1, 2.
Oh yeah.
Wait, hold on. 5777. Uh-huh. So the second one is and then plus
Oh,
577.
yes.
That's right. So I'm
You must
why
be much.
did I shift into the second one? Not the third. Yeah, I shifted into the second one. You're right.
I think so,
Ah,
yeah. Yes.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. Yeah. 577 times 2. Yeah. I had that error. So you guys are on the third? Yes, correct. I shifted into the second. You guys are on the third, right?
Some
Not yet.
of you are on
And
the third.
Laura and me are on the second, I think.
Yeah, we're finishing the second. No, I think
Yes.
we're close
Yeah.
to the third, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
close
on
to
the
the
third.
Do you
yeah.
guys know when that shift is?
No, I will calculate.
Yes, I was
Um,
calculating.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to like to keep that in anticipation.
yeah,
but Sue, you
Some
are in the
years
fifth or
ahead.
not?
Sorry,
You are in
1774.
the fifth.
I'm not quite in the fifth. No, I don't think
Before?
so. Days of life are 27588.
Oh no.
No.
So it's
It
about
is still
4
in the fourth, yeah.
3/4 actually.
Yeah,
Okay. Not yet.
Okay.
You're not there
not
yet.
yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. Okay.
What,
So it is
but
important that
can you
we
explain
locate.
something? Yeah, mine is 3.696 today. Bandataria? Bandataria? Is that the right name? Can you explain
Yes.
something about this 5775?
So
Because for
we
me
have a
it's
5.
new.
Okay. So 5, we are talking about 5 on the left. 5 on
Yeah.
the left means that there's an administration of something that's already existing. Yes, because 7, 5, and 1 is the line of something that has an existence. Well, it's 3 different scales, of course. But when we have a 5, 7, 7, 7, we have 3 sevens. So it means that we have consciousness on 3 different scales.
It's
So
5777. I thought
3 sevens.
5775.
Yeah.
5,
Aha,
7,
okay.
7, 7. Yes. So it's 5 and 3 sevens. So this is a very personal metric, of course, because it's going to be dealing with our days of life, and it's going to be related, of course, to our native date of birth and all of these situations. So it's going to be very personal, a very personal metric. And what I can say is like what I said earlier. It is like, okay, what we are dealing with is the situation of expanding our spatial consciousness. Yeah. So what is time in relation to space? Time is a quality that is going to be recorded in the space. So whatever is recorded in the space belongs to the space. So the first bandataria is going to be like when we are projected into this existence. And of course, it's going to depend with our framework contracts, our scopes, our multi-dimensional potential connectivity, all of these situations. But when we are projected inside here, we're going to be interacting with a specific reality. We're going to be interacting with a specific materialization matrix. Yes, materialization code. And it's very traumatic because we are coming from a place of non-existence, which is an instance of perfection because it doesn't exist. So coming into existence, we're going to be having to deal with like mapping out reality, like the reception of that reality that we projected ourselves into. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to be the first. The first bandataria is going to be like the configuration of how we were able to map out those first years of life. So I don't know if you guys notice, like when children shift from children to teenagers in the age of like 14, 15, it is like really strong, right? Really, really strong, the change. So okay, the change into the second. Okay, what is going on there? The 2 has to do with like the functionality. Yeah, the functionality of what I have recorded in that first track, so to say, right? And so on. Like we know that 1 has to do with the reception, 2 has to do with the function, 3 has to do with the action, 4 has to do with like the argument, the argumentation or the destiny, re-argumentation of everything that has been recorded in the past. And then 5, Ale has been making more, I think she has explained more about the 5th bandetaria. When people enter their 5th bandetaria, it's like where they are finally able to administrate everything that has occurred. Okay, so it kind of goes something like that.
But then you are about 80.
Okay, yeah, you're about 80. Here's the thing. That's I found the error here. In LTC, because right now we have completed 13 years of the development in October of last year. What does that mean? that we are now going through the 14th year, even though it hasn't completed yet. So I was correct. I am on the third. I am going through the third. I completed the second, but I entered the third. So you guys, yes, you completed the second and are going through the third. Myself, yeah. And some of you are on the fourth and going through like on the fifth. So, and I think Sue is on the fifth, not completed, but she is on the fifth.
Traveling, and I'm traveling to the fourth now.
Yes,
I have
yes,
92 days in the fourth, or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you complete I think you completed your third and are going through the fourth.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes. I was like, no, it doesn't make sense. Like I've been, working with this for a while, and I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. So yeah, that's how it is. And in the case of the development of LGC, it is like, okay, we are going through, like we are developing the 14th year. We are like, the 14th year of the development is in ocurriendo. When we complete the 14th year, that becomes an archive in the past. Yeah. So we are on the ocurriendo. I'm on the ocurriendo of the third bandetaria. Yeah, that's how it goes. There you go. Huh? I was like, no, something's not right. Yeah. Okay, you guys. So I am going to pick up certain things that I thought were really important of the RED program. I'm not gonna go quite like specifically over everything, but I'm gonna pick some of them that I thought were like more important, right? So first of all, we're gonna locate ourselves in the lap. Today is lap 7. We are on the 14th day of lap 7. I love lap 7. Lap 7 is amazing because it is the lap where we have the possibility, the opportunity to reevaluate or recalculate or re-argument like the value that we assign to ourselves, to each other, to the world, to our interactions, to our job, to our connectivity, like value at a multi-level. Yes, depending to our scopes, of course, but it is a very, very important place in the grid because we know that the solar calendar and calendaria, these are instruments of administration of the solar consciousness. The solar consciousness is going to be issuing potentials, and it's going to be going through specific challenges. The star itself is going through specific challenges that the code is demanding of the star. So we, because we are part of that collective of particles that conforms the star, we are part of that, of course, we're going to be affected with specific challenges. The thing is that these challenges are organized according to each person's scope. Yes. So this is why Alejandra has emphasized so much for many years this thing of knowing where you are, like your true location. Yes, like my actual scope, where I actually am, the actual state of my consciousness, but I can actually reach my actual limitations. This is an evaluation of value as well. Yes. And another thing that it's important in this lab is the situation of reevaluating like how we see or the focus that we give to faults, defects, friction, all these uncomfortable things that we deal with within ourselves and with each other, right? Because if I am not comfortable within my own scope, and then this is like a vicious circle. I'm not comfortable with my own scope. And then I have a demand from the context. But because I am fighting with my own scope because I think it's not enough, I enter into self-rejection. I reject myself because, oh, there's so many things that I can't reach. But what does this do? It it distracts me from all of the things that are within my reach, because we all have an amazing reach. It's just that it is really important that we go in there and we recognize and assign value to whatever that scope is. Whatever the scope is, it doesn't matter whether it's too big or too small, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we have domain of that scope, that we have the most accurate map of that scope. Yes, because based on that, what's going to happen? Based on how well I have mapped out my own position, then the unified field is going to be reading that. The algorithm is going to be reading that, because what does the unified field do? It synchronizes all of the occurrences that are interacting inside the unified field, right? So if there are some occurrences inside the unified field with this extra scope of solar consciousness, yes, and these little particles are like, okay, here, I am right here, I am right here, right? And we are making this communication, that the algorithm is like, it is as if we are supporting, there's a support for the algorithm. We are making an improvement and help, in a way, helping out the algorithm so that the synchronization functions better. Because remember that one of the purposes of the improvement of the quality of the solar code is the improvement in the quality of the interaction of the contents, which is us. Yes? What's going on in the world? Friction, 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 friction in the contents inside the unified field. So much friction. The quality of the interaction is not very good right now. But we all know we can trace this down with the manipulation of the solar code, this whole situation of the removal of the gold standard, because the gold backing up our economy, which is the way that we interact with each other, we exchange value through the economy. The removal of the gold standard debalanced those interactions to a very delicate point. Yes. So everything that we have been doing, working with the leap seconds and, working with these metrics from the apparatus of the removal of the gold standard, and the bimetallism law in Argentina, this oro, plata, plata wolframio, oro berkellio. Yes. All of these things are the solar consciousness trying to regain control of its codification, improving the quality of the code. Yes, so in our case, we are being included in having this extra space for amplifying consciousness at a different level. And that's going to be enabling us to have a little bit of an extra role inside the unified field. Okay, so one of the really cool things that Alejandra said in Red was that she was working with this phrase, and the phrase was, todo conflicto es un conflicto de valor, which means that every conflict is a conflict of value. Something so simple, it was like mind-blowing, because this is something that you can put on the lenses, like you put on the lenses of every conflict is a conflict of value, and then you just look at every conflict with those glasses on and you're like, oh yes, that makes so much sense. This is a conflict of value. Now, the thing is that, okay, where is the conflict of value? How? In what scale is the conflict of value? We are going to be able to have like a very specific way of looking at the conflict and be like, oh, so our intervention in a conflict is going to be more precise, because we're going to be able to like remove everything else and be like, okay, let's just focus on the conflict of value. What is going on here? Yeah. And then just focus on that. There's a conflict of value. There's a conflict of value. Where? Like, do you have a conflict of value? I don't know. Some of my friends, they have conflict in valuing money, for example. Oh, I don't like money. I hate money. I hate money. How can you hate money? You need money. you know? I mean, it's the reality. Of course, maybe I don't like it, the way things are, you know, structured in society and capitalism and all of these things. Yes, I don't like it. But how am I going to have a rejection towards a resource that allows me to have autonomy, freedom, make my own decisions, move around, do what I need to do? Yes, I don't have a conflict with the money because I have my own arguments in how I interact with the resource. It's a resource. It's a resource. Yeah. Okay, so that's like one example. Do you guys have any other examples? Let's make this a little bit more interactive.
What is your resource? Can you add something about your resource from the money, Denise?
The fact that money is a resource?
Yeah.
What I mean is the same way as, let's see, a calendar is a resource. Yes, because it
Yeah.
helps me organize myself within you know, how the earth rotates around the sun, and it helps me organize time and my conception of time, because without the calendar I would be lost in time and space. Now the calendar is a resource for that reason, and I'm going to be argumenting why a calendar is an important resource for me. Now, money. Why is money an important resource for me? In my, like, this is going to be, let's see, this is going to be an argument on a more personal scale, if you want to say that. But for me personally, it's like, okay, money is a resource for me because it's going to allow me to go to an event. It's going to allow me to make my own decisions, to not depend on anybody. Yes, to have interactions with other people, maybe support other people that don't have certain scopes, provide support, generate structures for other people. Yes, it is a material. If we give it this more lower argument in the case of money. But in the case of gold, when we talk about gold, this is a resource that connects us to the universe. 79, we're talking about the parabolic antenna. And the parabolic antenna is what connects us to the universe. What does that mean? We're connecting to the source. So we're not gonna, if we're connected to the universe, do you think we're gonna be afraid of scarcity? Of course not. If we're connected to the source of existence, we're connected to whatever finances existence, which is the primary unfoldment, I'm never going to have conflicts of scarcity. I'm not going to have conflicts with money, whether I have a lot of it or a little bit of it. It doesn't matter if I have a lot of money or a little bit of money, because I'm going to be, because, okay, this comes connected, of course, with my ability to administrate my own existence. If I'm able to administrate my own existence, I'm going to be able to administrate the money as well. Right? So here we're making readings at different scales, you see? But each one of us, it is important that each one of us picks up and recognizes how we're going to argument all of these things for ourselves, because we're all going to have a different argument and how we value that resource specifically. But we could talk about natural resources. How do humans value natural resources? They don't even see them. It's all the paper money. Yeah. In this life that we've been sold. So we don't see the natural resources. Every conflict is a conflict of value. Yes, maybe I can't relate with money because I undervalue myself and I feel like I don't deserve the money because I don't value myself, because I'm not good enough, because I don't know, when I was young, nobody validated that I was good enough. It can be a million different things, but we can place that same notion in every different scale. Yes, in the scale of the processor, let's see. Every conflict, it's a conflict of value. Okay. What value am I assigning to my perception or to my understanding of my processor? So it all begins with the questions. Then the answers, we can argument them and re-argument them and re-argument them. And the questions too. The questions can be shifting and shifting and shifting. Yeah. Now, another thing that's really important with the value is that the value only makes sense inside the unified field. Because what is coherent for us inside this local reality, if we take it out of the local reality, it doesn't make sense anymore. Yeah, because we are experiencing this third dimension has a specific set of the infrastructure of the third dimension is in clave de sol. It's going to be in the key of this particular star, and each star is going to have its own code of materialization. Yeah. So that's why it is so important to, and this is something that Alejandra works with all the time, us being able to remove and add the fourth cardinality as we need to do it. Yeah. So it is very important that we are not stuck either inside the unified, the fourth cardinality, or outside. Because if we get stuck outside, we're traumatized and we have like no capability to respond to the demands of the context. I am like completely abstracted. But if I am completely immersed in the fourth cardinality and I'm not able to separate myself from it, then I am going to be very frustrated and I'm going to be very pressured and I'm not going to be able to do this function of retraction, observation from this neutral perspective to see what mess there, like what mess is happening inside the unified field, right? Look at it from an external perspective to see what needs to be worked on, what needs to be created, what needs to be constructed, which is what we are learning here to do. Yeah. Every conflict is a conflict of value. So who else wants to give me an example of that?
Would it be an example if I have a conflict with the father of my son because we don't value the school where he goes the same way? He sees no value. I see a little bit of value, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. His perception of value of the school is going to be different from your perception of value of the school.
Yeah.
Yeah. See? So we put on the glasses and we look at any conflict, you're going to find the conflict of value.
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting. And I think like we should all make the best of this lab 7. Yeah. Okay, so what else do we have here? Okay. Another thing is that remembering that every lab 7 is not going to be the same. Why is it? Why is it that every lab 7 is not going to be the same? Because the star is moving across the universe. It's changing spaces. So the influences that the star is going to be receiving are going to be different every year. Yes. So for instance, this year, 2026, year Asimila of Aparato 507, we know that Aparato 507, the requirements, when Aparato 507 is occurring, and el ocurriendo, which means it is occurrent, it is the code that the star is going through. Yes, it is like an open archive. It is being written. So the requirement of code 507 for the star is the restructuration of the interpreter. The solar restructuration or reset of the interpreter, of the gravitational logic. Gravitational logic or interpreter. There needs to be, like that's like the demand of the code in this archive that is being written. The requirement is the restructuration of the gravitational logic and the interpreter. Why? Why do we need to restructure the interpreter. Okay, because this time we are in the, we have entered the digital era. And the digital era is a very demanding, dynamic instance for the star and also for the species. Yeah. So the credit for what was the era of the 400 apparatuses, which was the development of Rho, has ended. And now the credit has shifted in Ri, which means that we all have to construct an internal infrastructure to be able to continue to live inside this existence. The requirements are just higher. The demands are higher. So, because the sun is moving towards a more populated area of the universe, which like metaphor, we could use the metaphor of like saying, oh, I live in a small town and I'm moving to New York City. So there's going to be a lot more influences that I'm going to be exposed to. Yes, a lot more things that I'm not going to be used to. If I grew up in the country and I'm like really innocent and like I don't know anything about the city, and then I go into the city and I encounter situations that I'm like, oh, I didn't know this even existed. Something similar to that is happening to the star itself. It is as if the star is coming from a less populated area of the universe towards the more populated area of the universe. So that is what the sun is like doing. It's preparing itself to deal with like more influences, a lot more influences and more diverse influences. That translates into like signals from the express universe that the solar consciousness is receiving. Because what is a star? Is a space of reception of signals of the express universe that it later materializes, codifies into the mind. The solar mind would be the codification of the solar consciousness. Remember that the solar consciousness will always be far, far, far greater than what it's able to materialize. Yes? So what it is able to codify, it's able to materialize. And we are living inside that materialization. But now that the star itself is going through this evolutionary endeavor, it has to prepare itself with this really great infrastructure, materialization infrastructure, so that more hydrogens, basic, like the most basic state of matter, we could say, the most tender state of matter wants to come and materialize in this infrastructure. Because if more hydrogens want to come and join the collective of what we call the sun, then the sun rejuvenates and expands is life. Yeah. If it doesn't, if the solar code fails, then no hydrogens are gonna want to come here because it's like dangerous. You can get lost in the secondary unfoldment. So they're like, no, thank you, no, thank you. The market of hydrogens. Ale has talked about this before. She's like, I work for the market of the hydrogens. What do I want? I want more hydrogens to want to come to the sun so that the sun can have more credit to continue to exist. Yeah. It's beautiful. Oh, I get so excited. What do you think about that, guys?
And when she says hydrogen, she means the consciousness with an appetite for evolution as well, right?
It could be or could not be. Like hydrogen
Okay.
is like the most basic form of matter. If we look at the table, it is like on level 1. So the hydrogen is like the interface between matter and antimatter. Yeah. So when we say hydrogen, a hydrogen can project itself into the experience through what she calls the toboggan, like the direct. How do you say toboggan? Like
Right.
the slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can take the slide into existence. If you take the slide into existence, it's like, I'm not very much interested in what's in between. Yeah, I just want to go into the materialist experience, the materialization infrastructure that this star is providing. Yeah. But the better the quality of that infrastructure, the more hydrogens are gonna want to come and experience it. Yeah. But there's also going to be other hydrogens that are gonna want to take the stairs, not the slide. It's going to depend on the appetite. So if there's some particles that want to take the stairs, it means that they're going to be interested in everything that's in between. And those particles are going to have different roles inside materialization, because if we develop consciousness in a multi-scale, then of course we're going to be assigned different roles inside the unified field. We are going to be constructing specific roles inside the unified field, because we are not just members of the species, we're members of the species with a solar consciousness added, like with an extra consciousness at a different level. So that's going to translate into a different role inside the unified field. So some hydrogens can take the slide, some hydrogens can take the stairs, and it's fine. The important thing here is the improvement of the infrastructure of the solar code, like the improvement, the constant improvement of that. Because the better the quality of the infrastructure, the more hydrogens that want to come. It looks like, it sounds like a sci-fi movie. But it makes sense. I mean, it only makes sense if you have resonance. If you don't have resonance, we're completely insane. Right?
It really speaks to, a much larger evolutionary process. I'm really taken by the overall, I mean, it's not even fair to say the size and scope is unfathomable, right? But so it's being like a little tiny piece in that process.
It's so gratifying to even just be like on the front line and being aware, even if it's just a little tiny bit of being aware of what's going on. It's just, for me, it's enough. For me, it's enough to just be aware and be like, wow, something big is happening. Something big. And like Jeff said, unfathomable, unfathomable. I can't say that word. Like, I can't even begin to measure it.
There's an animated video somewhere online that is showing the movement of the sun with the planets. And,
Oh, yeah,
we're taught in school that it's just like this circle.
Yeah, like
right?
static.
And it's not, and this is actually a spiral. It's so artistic in that.
I know, it's beautiful how that movement, like the sun is moving and then the stars are like the planets are moving around it, and oh, it's so cool. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and of course, when we see this as content, as social content, but we're able to add this lens, with this extra scope, right? With this little, even if it's not too much consciousness, but like whatever bit of consciousness there is, and we add that to that, it's just so, it expands a lot. The cosmovision, the perception of reality, the perception of ourselves, of each other, understanding our location. And I think, I don't know when it was, a couple of years, I think maybe last year, that Ale was really emphasizing in this situation of recognizing our membership inside this this locality, this solar system, right? Because in our case, and well, I don't know if it's only in our case, I think it's gonna be the case for everybody, because we're all gonna have to either consume someone else's meaning or construct our own, right? So I need to be constructing the argument of why I am going to be assuming a membership into this specific locality. Why am I going to be assuming a membership or a belonging to this solar system? Why this? Because we see a lot of these things socially. They're like, oh, other universes, other realities, like they're interested in other realities, right? Personally, I am not interested in other realities. I am perfectly fine where I am. I love this place. I love this planet. Like I would love to live forever. I would love to be immortal and to stay here for 2000 years because there's so much to learn here. I'm so excited to be here. And then I see some people out there and they're like, "Oh, what is the meaning of life?" And like I don't understand what the meaning of life. And I'm like, the meaning of life overflows me. Like I could sit down with you for hours and tell you all the meanings of life that I can find and I can construct, you know? But this has to do with this argumentation, multi-dimensional argumentation of why I want to assume a belonging in this locality. Because if not, if I don't assume that, and there's no construction of consciousness in all those scales that are in the middle between primary unfoldment and anatomic, if I'm not interested in that, then what am I going to be? I'm going to be fuel for other consciousnesses that know how to handle those middle grounds. They're going to take me out of here, put me somewhere else, take me out of here, put me somewhere else, and I'm never going to have the reins of my own anatomical projection. You know? And I mean, that's okay, I guess, if that's what you want. If you want to be externally managed. But in order to be in charge of your own anatomical projection, you need to have this interpreter. That's what we were talking about, the 507, the interpreter in clave de sol. And we need to be nourishing that interpreter with concepts so that when we are receiving the signals, we're able to codify those signals in clave de sol according to this entorno so that we don't break the entorno. Instead, we are improving it. I get excited. So I need to stop for a little bit. Yeah. And that's another thing that we can all kind of like go inside and evaluate. Am I excited to exist right now or not? Because of course, it is natural to get, I don't know, demoralized and sad because of the state of the world, of course. Yeah, but that's another level, right? That's like an atomic level, more human member of the species, third dimension, kind of the of course, and that's completely natural. But that other part, that abstract part, is the one that's going to be containing the little human. Argumenting in another scale is what gives peace to the little human. It gives containment to the little human. Be like, okay, this is what's going on. The star itself is going through an immense transformation. And we are lucky to be alive. Even if there's so much destruction out there, we're still alive. We're still here. So as long as we make it out alive, we won. Because it means that we're going to be able to go out and reconstruct everything. It's fine. Those are my own arguments. We all are in charge of our own arguments in whatever scale our conflicts are. Right, but it's important to identify where I have the conflicts. For example, we have the existential conflicts, and wait, there's no difference in English. Oh yes,
Conflict
existential
with existence.
conflict with existence. There you go. Conflict with existence or existential conflicts. Okay, so let's talk about that. An existential conflict is going to be like, what is the meaning of life? I don't understand anything. This doesn't make any sense. Why was I even born? What am I? What is the human species? What is this planet? I don't understand any. That is like an existential crisis. Yes. Conflicts with existence are going to be more of like conflicts with being able to do things or achieve things. It's like more what problems with like the anatomic part of existence. Existential is conflicts with the abstracted part of existence. Yeah. So in my case, well, I can't do anything more than use myself as an example. But like in my case, I used to have like crazy existential conflicts. Crazy, 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 crazy. After LGC, I can't say when. I can't tell you, oh, this is a specific moment. No. But I can say like I basically have none. I don't, I feel like I don't have existential conflicts. I have conflicts with existence, yes, like everybody else, right? All the things that I want to do, all the things that I can't achieve, can't reach, and I have to retract and just work within my scope, and like, I don't know, frictions with each other and all of these situations. Yeah, I could say I have those kinds of conflicts, but like not with existence. Yeah. So when you have that part covered, oh, it really calms you down so that you are able to focus. Okay, we are always like the abstract part of existence is always going to need maintenance. It's always going to need maintenance. It's always going to be under construction because it's always going to be dynamic. Yeah. So it's always going to be under construction. But I think there comes a point in the, we could say, maturity of the interscalar consciousness where you're like, okay, I reached certain stability where I can navigate existence. It's never going to be completely under my, no, because totality is not going to be the same as my interpretation of totality, right? But I'm aware of that. And I am also aware that if I am working within my scope, I am going to be helping out the algorithm, and there's going to be more synchronization. Yeah. And if there's no synchronization and I encounter myself with a fault or a conflict or specific difficulty, what is that obstacle? That obstacle is going to be telling me something that I need to work on. But if I have an appetite for evolution, I'm going to be like, yeah, I like this. I want to eat it. I want to eat the conflict. I want to consume the conflict because I use it to construct improvements. I use it to construct virtues. But if I am constantly in self-rejection, if I am constantly rejecting my defects, how am I going to construct virtues? Yeah. But what I always say, my defects are mine. I don't want to show you guys my defects. I want to show them to myself. I'm fine with my own defects with myself, but I don't want to show you guys my defects. I want to show you my virtues and share the virtues with you. So I don't want to burden other people with my defects. I want to deal with them myself internally and use them. Because if I use the defects and I construct virtues, then the virtues are going to be an improvement to society. And that's what I want. Those are my arguments. Somebody wants to share their arguments?
Denise, you want to share with society the last thing that you just said, your virtues?
Yeah.
Okay, so if there are not that many people receptive to what your virtues, how I mean, there's a few, but there's not many that are open to it or that are not awake to it.
If it's just one, I'm happy.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
If one person,
yes,
that's enough for me.
Right.
Because remember, this is not massive.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a particular evolution. So for me, when if I want to measure whether or not I have influenced somebody's life positively, it's always going to be because I interacted with that person one-to-one, constantly. constantly, constantly. Yeah. And then I can measure, oh, yes, there was a positive impact in that person's life. And even if it's just temporary, because that has happened before in my case, like people come into my life and it's for a very brief moment.
Yeah.
But I am able to bring the resource to their scope, even if it's just like a little drop, even if it's just like even if it's imperceptible. Sometimes it's imperceptible for them. They don't even realize, but I see it. And I am able to, I don't know, insert a small tiny bit of a concept or something.
Yeah.
Then I'm happy. I'm like, oh, yeah, I did it. I talked about the sun. I talked about, the position of the sun. Oh, are you a member of the species? Are you inside a solar system? Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's good for me. That's good enough.
Yes. Wow.
Because what I try is to bring the resource to their scope. I can't try to bring them to mine. I'm going to burst them.
Yeah.
Can I point out something that may be obvious is that you do it every time we get on these calls
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
and in our Telegram and everything. And
yeah, and that is like the main intention. Like the resource works or enters into a functionality when it becomes an actual service to the community. Yes, because it's not about me. It's not about Ale. It's not about David. No. It's about the resource itself. So one of the best things that I have learned to do myself is to remove myself. Like, of course, I use myself as an example because, because I'm the one in charge of this whole thing. But I am not like making this about myself. You know what I mean? Like, remove myself from the equation and try to just transfer the resource. And of course, saying everybody's gonna have a different argument, everybody's gonna have a different conflict in a different area, in a different place. But it's all about me mapping myself, me valuing myself, and it's the net value. I don't underestimate myself and I don't overestimate myself. And I'm constantly being very careful that I don't do any of those things. Net value. Net value. That's all I need. So if I know my net value, I'm going to be able to see your net value. I'm going to be able to see more clearly where you guys are. And if I am able to see more clearly where you guys are, I'm going to be able to bring the resource closer to you so that it is useful for you. And not that, oh, I am so smart. Oh, I have all these notions and la 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 la. And I talk to myself and you're like, I don't understand anything she's saying. And I think like, oh, I'm so brilliant. And everybody's like, what is she saying? No. My interest is that you actually are able to grasp more and more of the resource. Bring it closer. It is like these devices where you have the main antenna, which is, we could use the metaphor, right? The main antenna would be Ale, and then I'm a little modem, to bring the signal from the main antenna closer to other scopes. And Ale herself is doing that. She's bringing herself closer and closer and closer. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being a modem and a transmitter.
It's my passion. Like I always say, it's my passion and it's my obsession. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Molly, for receiving. Otherwise, the modem is not working.
Exactly.
I've just received.
Exactly. The part of the reception. Oh my goodness, you guys. And I always say this, like every time we finish a meeting, I'm like, oh my goodness, like the feel that is generated when we are together, it is wow. Honestly, even if it's just like the role of reception. And I really do appreciate when you guys want to interact and when we want to, when we talk and all, because it just makes it so much more fruitful and so much more nourishing, because it is very important that we know each other, that we map each other, because that's going to improve our communication. And we really need that lateralization, especially inside this community, because we've been so in our own little worlds in the first part of the development, which was okay. We were all working in our abstraction, but now is a different instance. And lateralization and knowing each other and communicating with each other more clearly is becoming more and more important. So it's really important that we know each other and that we connect at a human level too. Like we are beginning to include the little human in the equation.
Yeah.
So that makes me really excited because I love humans. I love humans. You know, in society, people are always like, oh, humans are a plague and humans are horrible. And I'm like, no, humans are amazing. The human species, because what I see, it's like the potential of the human species, of course.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a mother. I'm like, don't talk bad about my child. That's my kid. Why are you saying bad things about the species? You don't know the human species. Yeah. So.
But I do like it when you talk about the little human. It
The
sounds
little
sweet in a
human.
way, like,
Yeah.
but in
Because we
respect to
don't
the, yeah.
know. We don't know better. But I think the human species is amazing.
It's like
Okay.
domino, eh? We all a part of the domino and chuck, 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 chuck.
Yeah. Well, there's a thing. There's going to be some humans with specific scopes because there's going to be humans with scopes on 1 scale, 2, and all the way to the primary unfoldment, right? There's going to be all kinds of different configurations. But with the humans that are going to have a scope at a particular scale, these are going to be the little humans that are going to be updating like in real time, we could say, or on their own. But then there's going to be others that are going to be updating in the masses. When the field itself mutates, then we're going to see a collective update. And the humans are going to be like, oh, magic, it was God, or something like that. Yeah, but we know it wasn't God. No. I put my flesh on the line for in my case, for 9 years.
And your ass.
Oh, and my ass on the line. Let me share something with you. That's why I'm so happy, I think. Yesterday, so today is the day 1 of my 10th year in LGC.
Oh,
So
wow, congratulations.
I completed my 9th year yesterday, and today is the first day of my 10th year. Yeah. So I'm so happy to share it with you. That's why I'm like, oh, why am I so excited? That's probably why. Remind me, you guys, how many years you guys have been in the development? You've been longer, huh? I think
2014.
most of you. So what? 12 years?
2014.
13? What
I'm
year?
also 9 years.
2014, yeah.
Huh?
9?
Yeah, 2015.
I'm also
Well, but we were
20.
introduced to the LGC when Edith did Ollie's. When was that?
It was
Ollie's.
2015.
That was 2015. Yeah. A
It's
friend of ours.
2017 for me, so that's 9 years, but not yet because it was late, September 2017.
Yeah, for me,
So I'm not yet on
March.
the 10th year.
Okay, for me, March 2018. Gabi introduced me on a very special way. Gabi, from which year
What
you are
happened?
on the LGC?
2014.
Okay. And Nienke as well, 2014?
She was a bit earlier, I guess.
2014.
And
too.
Bert too, eh?
Yes.
You are the founders in the Netherlands.
In Holland.
Holland always present.
Yeah.
And I always talk about you guys as well, like of course the Dutch, and there's very few, like for example in Sue's case, She's like the only
Yeah.
Australian that I know
Yeah.
that's in the LGC. I don't know about any others. Maybe there's more, but like she's like the sole one. And then in
Yeah.
the case of Molly and Jeff, you guys are the only Americans,
Yeah.
North Americans in the LGC as well.
I thought there
Yeah.
were a few in Spanish speaking, unless they moved on.
Like native to the US?
Oh, I don't know if they were born here or not, but I've communicated with, I think, someone in New York City and someone in New Jersey. I don't know if they're still
Mm,
active. And then we
okay.
had Jose too, right?
Hmm.
No, but Jose was born in Mexico.
Oh, he was
Yeah.
Moscow.
Mexico.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mexican.
so I'm not sure where they were born. Actually, oh,
Hmm.
yeah, there's
They're
also a
probably
Canadian
not born in
part,
the
but
US.
could
Yeah.
be. Yeah, could be.
But I think the most active are you guys.
Hmm.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
always talk about you guys. I'm like, yeah, I know two that are very active. Yeah.
Two and
They're always there.
I think,
335 million people.
but I think
Hmm.
all of us, we are listening, the recording, and
Mhm.
I think all of us are living the LGC because I can mention it by the questions.
Yeah.
Uh, Pardon me.
Yeah.
I was going to say, when I do the metrics of the day, it's amazing the difference to how I feel.
Really?
How do
O sea,
you do that, Molly?
when you do the
I,
metrics, you feel different after?
well, I just feel like, okay, now I feel more it, present with what's going with myself
Hmm.
and more, okay, I'm kind of, it's like,
Like an orientation, no?
Yeah.
yes, it's like an orientation. Yeah. hmm
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
that
but
really helps as well when I look at the day and the how many days expressed, how many unexpressed days, and what the quadrant is, and where are we in mapping. Mapping.
hmm. Yeah, mapping the day, and that helps our antenna to be like, oh, okay, like locate ourselves in space and time.
Yeah. Yes. That's right.
Yeah. Hmm.
Absolutely. And it's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
So one other thing that I thought was really cool that Alice said, and that I also been noticing, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I consume social media with the purpose of course, mapping the state of the consciousness of society, what's going on, right? And I can see a lot of sad things, a lot of people doing and saying and thinking a lot of stupid things. But I also am noticing this flourishing in the social consciousness at a different scales, different reasonings in different areas. Like, I don't know, for example, consciousness of, what do you say? Social status, conscious, like
Mhm.
the fact that the fact that the system is not very, fair, because we can't say that we cannot be saying that somebody is not successful because they don't work hard enough. No, we can't be saying that, because not everybody is born under the same circumstances and not everybody has the same opportunities. So, that kind of thing. And I don't know, a lot of women, speaking out or coming out of abusive relationships, mothers expressing themselves and all the things that they weren't able to say before about their children, a lot of things like in different areas. And I notice this just everywhere, and it gives me a lot of hope, right? And one of the things that I also noticed is that with this whole AI situation that I think began in 2023, everybody was just so excited, and like the market, because the speculation has been so much. The market is this huge bubble, right? Because of the speculation of this AI enterprises and businesses, and this is gonna be so valuable in the future, la 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 la. And it did have this like a burst, the AI. There's a lot of people like really excited with it, and they think it's gonna save the world and blah, blah, blah. But what I am also noticing is that there's so many people just fed up, just completely fed up and so bored with technology so just bored and they don't want like I don't know, for example, there's this trend of dumb phones. People are buying dumb phones that only have like WhatsApp, email, and music, and that's it, you know? Phones that are not as addictive, that kind of thing. So if we look at that from the perspective of the potential that this archive that we're going through in this apparatus, the potential is that we find the balance between the digital and the analogic. Like it is really important that we begin to revalue the analogic part of life. And I'm not talking just about like our tools or our instruments, but like our own physical existence is analogic. So if we get carried away too much by the digital era, we are going to be self-destroying because we are not putting the value in the analogic, which is what needs to prevail. Because without the preservation of the analogical cycles, of course, there's not going to be any life. There's not going to be any digital era. There's not going to be anything.
Can I share something I heard
Yes,
yesterday?
of course.
There was a radio program and they were talking about the digital age. And in Denmark, they have gone back to books. No iPads, no phones,
You see,
books and writing on paper. Now, of course, there are
that's
some
amazing.
sectors of society that aren't happy with this, but they have implemented this in the schools. And in Denmark, there's also a ban on anything up before the age of 8 or 9 that's technological. Back to books, back to pens and papers and writing. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, that's really great. I think that is like a great example. And I hope that really propagates everywhere. And I just think like I also was thinking that I don't know if you guys agree, but I was thinking like in the 90s, because the technology was like just beginning to be developed, but we still had that connection with the analogic, there was like a perfect balance between the digital and the analogic. So that's why I think the 90s are so nostalgic. I don't know if it's just for me because I grew up in the 90s. That's why I'm asking if you guys agree. But I do think that it was like a time where there was this a balance between the analogical and the digital. So I think that that's what we need to get to again, like get back, not rejecting, of course not, because technology, if we have this consciousness, technology is going to do brilliant things with society, with humanity. Of course, the problem is that we don't have consciousness to use these so advanced technological instruments. If we don't have the consciousness to touch those things, it's like a monkey with a knife, right? But this is also something Alice said in the program, like we need to get back to assigning value to the cycle, to the process, to the step by step, to the going slowly, to the detail. Yes, like going back to assigning value to that. That's something that we need to be actively working on. Because the thing is that the human species, why is the human species so special? Because it has access to breaking the cycles. But if we have access to breaking a cycle, it means that we are also potential guardians of the cycle and potential improvers. I don't know if you say it like that, but like potential improvers of the cycle. Yes, because of course, other species that coexist here with us, they don't have access to breaking a cycle. Yeah, and we break cycles all the time because yeah, of course, we have a problem with our consciousness. We are not assigning value to the entorno that is allowing us for our code to be materialized and to have a material experience. And of course, we know that this has to do with the interference to the solar code, to the sun being a young star and going through this process, and of course the history of evolution of the species itself. But another thing that I'll say is the species also is about to take this giant evolutionary leap. Like we are on the verge of having an immense evolutionary transition as well. So what is happening also? People are not wanting to have children anymore. And that's also an interference. Why are people not wanting to have children? Well, of course, if we see it socially, there's a lot of like economical situations, social, the conflicts, the wars, and all of that, right? But there's another variable that is prior to all of that, and it's the interference not allowing, because if the human species takes this evolutionary leap, it's not going to be good for the interference. Like the interference is going to be losing control of this materialization. And they don't want that because that would mean that they would kind of like lose their financiation, their stolen financiation, because it's not legitimate, because they broke their own connection to the source. So they, the pirates, the Dutch pirates, looking for little souls to capture their fuel from.
And regarding your comment about social media and what you're seeing, I'm also seeing that the young people, I mean, but even 9, 10, 11-year-olds, some of them are amazing in what they see, in their ideas for the future, different plans they have for the environment. And there is so much hope and potential coming forth, and from the teen years. And then on the other hand, we have the dichotomy of, I mean, I've been away over Easter and I have some very, very wealthy friends. And I'm seeing how easily they manage money with what you were saying. No airs and graces, the same as everybody else. The kids are the same with the money. And yet there's a sort of hypnosis that's being woven for those that are outside that are not connected, if you like, and they're wanting that. So it's seeing some of the children just wanting that, and another part that are just so, well, enlightened isn't a word I want to use, but are so futuristic. It's amazing, and it's so encouraging and so joyful.
Oh, I'm glad you're noticing that. I think
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
so great.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I mean, there, like we always say, the children are the future. And in this case, we can say that the further inside, like the further in we are in the 500 apparatuses, and the people born like more inside the 500 apparatuses, they are not going to be very much interested in like the past as much as we have been or have been educated. Like the only important things are in the past, or the only important people are dead, and those are the references. No. And they are also not very much subordinated to their parents. Like they're much more independent. And because they have it, because why? Because in order for them to be born, they went through a different ionosphere than we did. It is
Yeah.
completely different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the configuration of their native basic octave is going to be completely different because it now includes all the improvements of the code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're
So
seeing that
there's
already.
always hope.
Mm.
Okay, let's see what else we have here.
We shall end up thanking Donald Trump, can you imagine, for being a catalyst, for bringing everything down.
And to bring everybody together against him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't thank him yet, but maybe in the future. No, I can't thank him. I can thank him because I think so many, like, we are just learning so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um,
I think Alice said at one time, didn't she, that everything that was hidden is going to come to the surface. And this year, I think we worked with truth last year, and
year.
this year it's really rising up from every quarter.
From the corners of the everything that they wanted to keep hidden is just out in the open.
Yeah.
Everything is out in the open.
And in the spirituality and wellness communities, the stuff that's going on there is incredible.
Yeah. There's always so much going on there. Also with the Pope, right? Like Trump attacking the Pope. Oh, yeah. Attacking just all of like the most sensitive parts of society. Yeah. When he attacked the Pope, I was like, whoa. Whoa, that's blunt. Like, he's definitely fulfilling a role. Like, definitely. Yeah. Yes.
Well, the next step being that Jesus type photo.
Oh, did you see it? Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. Like made with AI, made like AI with Donald Trump like forgiving Epstein or something like that.
Well, it
Was
was like healing hands, and people are speculating it was a younger Epstein. I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
But it's freaky because also you look above his head, there's ethereal type. I mean,
he posed as Jesus.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy. And like it is so crazy to see that it is like an official message from the government. It is so surreal. Honestly, it's like we're living in a sci-fi movie.
I think he said it was like a joke, didn't he? And that he was really seeing himself as a doctor.
Well, that was his excuse once people pushed back. But now, the big support here is from the fundamentalist Christian side of things. And now they have to deal with this, contradiction.
The hypocrisy.
The hypocrisy. Is this blasphemy or is this my new God?
Oh my God. Wow.
Does not compute. Does not compute, right?
Yeah, they can't make sense out of it.
There's a cognitive dissonance, and it just. But he, so he posted it, and then pulled it down because he was getting, people was getting crap back from it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and this happens. Like this is interesting what you're saying. Like, is he the Antichrist or is this a new God or what is he? Why does this happen? Because what we are doing is that we are argumenting the logic that are of the scales that are in between the origin and the destination, right? But there's some people that just don't have reach there or reach or interest or so they need something that's already constructed. So it doesn't matter the quality of that construction, because if I don't have the capacity to create my own argument, to create my own construction in those areas, then I'm gonna just grab whatever there is available. It's like I'm gonna buy any argument, even if it's so nonsensical. It's not gonna matter to me. I'm gonna take whatever there is because I have no capacity to do it on my own. So that's what's happening to a lot of people in society. Like all of these structures are crumbling, but even the fact that these structure, like it is so evident that these things are just not making any sense anymore, they can't let it go. Because these are consciousnesses that have not particularized. These are collective consciousnesses. So they don't have the reach. It is like they just can't do it. They need it to continue to exist. So it's either that or just ending life, because they need an argument of those other scales that they just have no reach in.
What I'm interpreting, though, the seeing here is that some are getting to this point where it cannot, that stress between the, having to generate something different for self and that adopted belief system, it can't hold. So yes, like some will die, whether physically or emotionally or whatever, but it's forcing that painful growth if you just can't reconcile it anymore. So some will just be mine. Let's just continue that. But it's gotten so ludicrous that they're observing people like I could see that the road ahead of them is extremely difficult because everything they believed for decades can no longer be sustained. And what that has to do, right, that getting one's identity in that. So I'm seeing both. And it's very fascinating to observe, and allow people to have their own journey with it. But
exactly. Yeah. And that's what like we've always talked about here also, like just respecting, right? Mapping the other person and respecting their framework contracts, their appetites, and understanding that if they believe something, it's because they need to believe something, because they just don't have the scope to not, like they can't afford to not adopt a belief system. And of course, there's an opportunity for evolving, and maybe some are going to take that opportunity. Maybe some are going to be able to construct, their arguments. Some do. And yeah, we're going to be seeing how this all unfolds. So I have another note here from the program, and she talks again about the difference between interpreter and interpretation, where interpreter is more, when we're dealing with the interpreter is always going to be something, hopefully, not always, hopefully, dynamic. Yes, if my interpreter is active, dynamic, if I'm constantly nourishing my interpreter with the construction of concepts in clave de sol, then my intuition is going to be very much accentuated. I'm going to be like the intuition is going to be more prevalent than the instinct, because the instinct is going to be more linked to the memorials, to the past, to everything that has occurred. And it's going to be when I am working directly with the instinct, then I am going to be working with something that's already interpreted. So even if I am dealing with some novelty, with an update, with something new, if I don't have the interpreter active, I'm going to go directly into the interpretation, and that's going to be like a repetition of the past. It's like, I don't know, I am living, every day is going to be new and different, right? But if I don't have the interpreter active, then every day is going to be the same. Every day is the same. Every day is the same. Every day is the same. And it is going to be the instinct that's going to be more prevalent. The thing is that now the demands of the field itself, the field itself needs us to have a more active intuition, to have a more active antenna, to be more like in the real present, in the time, in the moment, and constructing interpretations in real time, and being aware of all the influences. And like, it is a very dynamic time. So if like my observer falls asleep, and then it is like my mind just continues to operate without an active consciousness, then I'm going to be working with like whatever interpretation I have in my memorials. And I'm not going to be constructing anything new. It's just going to be everything so repetitive, and it's always going to be the same. And of course, there's going to come a time when it's like the frustration is so great that there's an implosion, because there's no capacity to update. But I think that now what we're dealing with is like all the remnants of this era, because we're in a transition, right? We're in the middle. We're not there yet, but we haven't left the past yet. So what we're dealing with is like the remnants of that, because I do, my intuition is like in the future, this is not going to be so difficult, because it's like by default, because in the past, the default configuration was intuition, program, past, memorials, and all of that. But in the future, the default setting is going to be intuition, antenna, active interpreter, a better and improved ionosphere, all of that. That's going to be the default. The thing is that like we're in the middle, and that's why it's being so chaotic. So intuition, what intuition does is that it provides a signal so that the instinct stalls, right? So intuition, because what instinct does is like an automatic response. Yeah, because we need that. We needed that. So when intuition is active, it's like there's like a stop sign. Intuition gives a sign so that the observer can stop and look at whatever little detail that is new, so that I can capture that new detail and add that detail to the interpretation. So it is like I'm always working on the interpretation. Always, 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 always. It is an active task that is continuous. But here, and we can go inside and just a little bit like evaluate how much resistance and how much resonance we have, because instinct provides resistance and intuition provides resonance, right? So it is always best to have that 70-30, I think I said, like that was the optimal 70-30, like 70 instinct and 30 resonance, because we resistance, because we also like it is also something that is it is also a function, but it's just like consciously configuring what is most optimal for the moments that we are living in right now. Yeah. So
Did you say 70% instinct?
70% resonance and 30%
Resistant.
instinct. Yeah.
30% instinct, 70% resonance. Okay. I heard you the wrong way around.
It's like intuition, instinct, resistance, resonance. Yeah. So yeah, you guys, we have 10 minutes until we reach the 2 hours. Do you have anything else you want to share? Any questions? Anything you want to talk about before we end our meeting? I think it was quite a lot already. If not, we can just look at each other. That's okay. And hope that we can all meet in live. Okay, so if you guys don't have anything else to say, then we can end our meeting here. Thank you so much for being here. It was really, really great. Always gratifying to share space with you guys, and always so nourishing.
Yeah.
So,
Same here.
Thank you so much.
Yes, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you so
Excellent.
much. So
Thank you
nice
so
that I
much.
was able to join today on my last day in Argentina. I'll
that's
be heading
great.
to the airport soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Yeah, I'm flying
Glad
all
that you
night.
were able
Thank you
to
very
meet.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a good
Yeah.
flight.
Fun experience from 54.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Laura in 54.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, you guys. Well, see you
Okay.
soon.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Good
See
night.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.